Now, if you want to talk about a brand that has absolutely spread their wings and is now, yes, a complete line offering, well, you got to consider Audio Control. The same Audio Control that we remember from back in the day has absolutely grown up and is now a full force within car audio. Today, we've got their product expert, Matthew Palumbo, joining us to break down the entire line so that you could better understand what offering Audio Control brings to the table. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about audio control and car audio. And it starts now. What's going on, guys, and welcome to another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and we're talking Audio Control, that little brand that, started with things like the Epicenter, line drivers, LOCs, has now grown up and is a complete line offering, and exciting news it is. We've got Matt Palumbo joining us. Matt, this has got to be an exciting time for Audio Control. What are we going to be talking about on today's Connected?
Yeah, Ben, it has never been a more exciting time to be an audio control dealer or be working with audio control. We are now what I'd like to say is a full line offering. Like you mentioned, it was all about the Epicenter, line output converters, things like that, eventually digital signal processing. But now we are amplifiers, we are DSPs, we are full range speakers, components, coaxials, subwoofers, slim subwoofers, loaded enclosures. We literally have pretty much everything to outfit a modern vehicle. So let's get right into it and check out what all this cool stuff's all about.
Lots of stuff to cover on today's episode, but first an opportunity for our partner SiriusXM to remind you dealers why it's always an add-on sale every single time. And when we come back, let's break down what Audio Control's got cooking. Don't you dare go away.
Hi, Paul Truman here with SiriusXM. We reached out to some of our partners in the industry, and here's what they had to say.
I can't say more or enough about just what it means to have our unit working with SiriusXM. It's like we're there now.
The SiriusXM service is something consumers want, right? So it's Paul.
That allows a consumer to listen to either podcasts, entertainment, sports, all at their fingertips. It's all about engagement, and that's what SiriusXM provides.
SiriusXM is a huge component in a vehicle nowadays. Consumers expect that technology to be available both in our OEM system as well as the aftermarket upgrades that they're applying to their vehicle.
Alpine and SiriusXM, through our electronics, are able to offer the consumer on the aftermarket side SiriusXM 360L, which is an expanded platform for SiriusXM. And it's really been a beneficial relationship for us with SiriusXM.
As a dealer, just remember, we don't compete with anybody else. We are absolutely one of the best profitability accessories you can add to any head unit that is SiriusXM ready.
All right, welcome back to the show. As mentioned, we have product expert Matthew Palumbo joining us from Audio Control today. Now, Matt, I am a child of car audio. I've seen this entire industry evolve over the last 30 years. And from my recollection, Audio Control's always been there. But I guess I'd like to start the conversation with the fact that I guess it's in the name, isn't it? Audio Control meant controlling audio. That's what you guys kind of forged your name in. But now things have changed, man. You guys are now a full line. So what do you have to say to this incredible growth and step up to this full line status?
Yeah, Ben, I mean, it's like you said, we've really kind of grown up. Now, don't get me wrong, our packaging and our manuals have not grown up. We still have that classic Audio Control humor. We try not to take ourselves too seriously, but we do take our product very seriously. We take the performance of the product seriously, and we take the solution seriously. We want to have applications and solutions for all of the common vehicles that dealers come into contact with. And that's really why we decided, hey, you know what? There's nobody doing speakers and subwoofers quite the way we want to do them. So let's dip our toes in the water and let's jump all the way in and just come out with, what we think is a really strong offering. Having a full line offering from Audio Control is kind of a dream. It's something that dealers have asked for over the years. Hey, why don't you guys do speakers? Why don't you do subwoofers? Well, now we do. And we definitely did it the Audio Control way, a little bit different, right? These enclosures, these speakers, everything is just a little bit different than what everyone else offers. And it makes it a very compelling argument to take a look at them and see if maybe they'll fit into your product mix, because they are different than what everyone else is offering. So it's pretty awesome stuff.
All right, so for the purpose of this show, we're going to keep this real high level, and we're going to focus on the things that Audio Control loves focusing on, and that is what makes you different. Starting with the brand new launch of the PNW series of speakers that happened last year. Now, if you guys don't know, this is a full line of speakers with both coaxials and component options, even a three-way option. and they look fantastic. If you haven't seen them, we'll definitely be throwing up some images of these speakers. But Matt, let's talk a little bit about the takeaway, the feedback that you've had from these speakers since their launch, and really what are the design elements that went into them to make sure that not only do they perform, but they represent incredible value and some of those nuggets that really make it stand out from the competition.
Yeah, Ben, the PNW series speakers, I love these. There's a lot of things that make them unique, but we're just going to hit some of the high points today. Like you mentioned, this is a full line of speakers. There is coaxial models from a 2 3/4 inch all the way up to a 6x9. So we have all the popular sizes. We have components in 6.5 and 6x9. And then we have that 2 3/4 inch middler, which is awesome. It kind of turns our 6.5 or 6x9 components into a 3-way component set. But some of the features that kind of make these stand out is all of our coaxials are point source concentric design, which means that tweeter does not protrude at all from the front of the driver. They all have a double roll rubber surround as well. So they have the excursion to have some awesome mid bass, but they don't have all of those install challenges that a traditional high roll surround would have. That tweeter being sunk into the cone like that in that concentric design, also, not only does it not present install challenges like a traditional coax would, but it also does have some sound quality enhancements as well. We don't have time to dive deep into what makes those different, but trust me, get a listen to these speakers. You will not be disappointed. You will probably be very surprised at how good these sound, especially when you see the price tag. That brings up the topic of value. These speakers offer an incredible value. Unlike most manufacturers that do a good, better, best, and then maybe even a couple lines above that, we went right down the middle, right where Audiocontrol sits, which is, in my opinion, if you're a high-end store, I'm probably one of your entry-level brands. And if you're an everyday store, I'm probably one of your higher-end brands. That's right where these speakers fit as well, kind of right in the middle spot, which is a great place to be. But when you see how much they cost and then get a listen to them, I promise you, what I've been hearing from the field is that these speakers sound like a speaker that's 3 or 4 times this price tag. When people see the retail price, they're thinking, oh, that's dealer sheet cost or something like that. It's unbelievable how great these speakers are for how much your consumer is going to pay for them. Not to mention super high power handling. We redesigned them several times before launch to make sure that they fit in a lot of modern vehicles as well. So we really tried to cover all of our bases with the PNW series of speakers.
So a couple of things I definitely want to bring up here, Matt, and want to ask you about. So let's talk about the impedance. I know that was an important specification that you guys wanted to adhere to, especially on certain vehicles that, don't have a 4-ohm impedance as per standard. And the other thing I'd like to point out is just the fact that this lineup is just really good for integration. There's so many models that fit, I would say 90%. I'll let you correct me on that, but pretty much any application, any customer is coming to your shop with.
Yeah, Ben. So the 3-ohm rating on the components and coaxials was absolutely intentional. This was something we did to, kind of get a little bit more power from the factory systems. So for those that are just coming into the store and saying, hey, I just want to upgrade my speakers. I don't want to change out amplifiers or head units or add any other components. I just want to swap out my speakers. I think a lot of us that have been in the industry for a while have had this experience where we've sold customers speakers from our stock room, and they're good speakers, but they really needed an amplifier with them to make them perform to their full potential. And that's why we went with 3-ohm instead. So we could rob a little bit more power from that factory head unit, factory amplifier. Or if it is a customer that has an aftermarket amplifier or aftermarket sound system, we can get even more power from that amp and really make sure that these speakers sing in every vehicle. As far as them fitting in every vehicle, that's the other big point, is these are kind of an integration line of speakers, which is why we have everything from a 1-inch tweeter with adapters available with it that come included, all the way up to a 6x9. The larger speaker sizes, your traditional sizes that are common, like a 6.5, 6x9, these days, it seems like almost every vehicle is using a 6x9 in the front. So although we want to have a 6x9 that handles lots of power and gets nice and loud when we want it to and has lots of mid bass, we also had to design it to be slim enough and small enough to still fit in a lot of these vehicles. And that was something we spent a lot of time and energy and money, frankly, on, was the R&D that went into these to make sure, hey, this speaker needs to fit in, most vehicles. So what we usually do is take the top, say, 20 vehicles that are on the road and then go through and test fit these speakers in all of those applications, making sure that these things drop in without a lot of those install headaches and challenges.
All right, so moving along from the PNW series of drivers, we got to talk about the new subwoofer series. And there's not one, count them, there are two different sets. Of course, one that I'm sure Matthew will refer to as a daily driver, you know, your thumpy kind of bass in the Spike series, but they've also come up and addressed space concerns. It's when you don't have the space to accommodate full-size drivers or subwoofers, rather. Of course, they have their space series as well. So real quick, Matt, talk us through a couple of the key points of both sets of subwoofers.
Yeah, so with the subwoofers, we have two different lines. Like you mentioned, we have Space and Spike. The Space series is our space savers, right? Hence the name Space series. They are slimline woofers. They fit in a lot of tight applications, real small enclosure sizes, and they're offered in a 10 or 12-inch size. Now, both the 10 and 12 handle 600 watts RMS, which is a lot of power for a slim woofer, which is why we've been getting such great feedback from dealers that, hey, these woofers sound fantastic. They get loud, they play low, all things that are not commonly associated with slimline woofers. Not to mention, just like every audio control product, these come with the grill, saving dealers time and money and energy of having to remember to stock and order those extra grills. With the Space series, you know, they're also a little bit unique in that they can work in vented enclosures. Not every slim woofer will. And if you're looking at the Space series preloaded enclosures, they're a beautifully designed enclosure. They come with mounting hardware. They have a special wiring harness that plugs in. We really tried to think of everything when it comes to these lines of subwoofers. Now, the Spike series is what I like to call the daily driver. The Spike series is an awesome all-around woofer. This is a unpressed raw pulp paper cone. When you look at it on the backside, it has those cool little ridges in it for strength. But that paper cone sounds so natural. It sounds so good. But it's also mica coated, so it's fast, it's light, it's strong. It's a high roll surround. They're just a beautifully made woofer. Cosmetics wise, undeniably, they're gorgeous. They do come with that grill as well. But then, like I said, I call them the daily driver because these woofers, the Spike series, in a small sealed box with some moderate power, say 300, 400, 500 watts, something like that, they will perform really well. They're very tight and punchy and accurate, and they sound great. But for the customer that wants that big, loud, boomy bass, they also can be dropped into a vented enclosure, put more like 700 watts to them, and away you go. These things will just boom down the street if that's what you're looking for. So that's why I call them the daily driver. And in the Spike series, they're available in an 8-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch size, and really affordable price points too. The performance is unbelievable for what you're paying for them. One of the cool things too we did with this both Space and Spike series woofers is they're all single voice coils. They're available in single 2 or single 4, but we did that on purpose. Again, we are all about our dealers. With Space and Spike series woofers, the reason they're single coils is from an inventory perspective, you really don't need to have that many woofers. With a lot of other brands, we are looking at having single 2 ohm, single 4 ohm, dual 2 ohm, dual 4 ohm, plus a grill. That's 5 SKUs for what is effectively one woofer. With us, it's 2 SKUs, a single 2, a single 4, and they both come with the grill, so you can't go wrong. So be sure to check out those Space and Spike woofers. They're an unbelievable value for what you're getting. They're just an awesome set of woofers.
You know, Matt, when I first saw images of both of these sets of subwoofers, I have to say it was quite impressive. I want to add to everything you said, just the cosmetics. I mean, the little things like the rubber, casing around the magnet with the imprinted or embossed logo of Audiocontrol. The blue. I mean, this is a really sexy looking basket. It's got this blue powder coat finish to it, down to the double stitch from the surround to the cone. It's also blue stitch. So all these little things, I would say that at this price point are a definite value add, and I think consumers would definitely react very, very well to that. Not to mention even the hardware. It's the nice terminals, the whole package as a whole, the detail around the ring, everything about it says whoever made these knew what they were doing, and definitely, I don't know how you did it, but jammed a ton of features into the price point. Now, you did mention a little bit about the enclosures, which was my next question, because these enclosures, Matthew, let me tell you, these are superstar enclosures. The reason I say that is they don't look like your standard enclosure. If you take a look at these enclosures, guys, you will see that there are certain features that really make them stand out, but I'm not going to tell you all about it. Matt will.
So, like Ben said, I mean, cosmetics are always important, right? And we love the way that these enclosures turned out. I think all of our products turned out great as far as cosmetics go. Those spike woofers, that blue basket, it's like a metal flake blue, so cool looking. Even the Space Series, if you haven't seen them in the sunlight yet, it's not just black, it's actually what we call space dust. It has a cool glittery effect. Anyway, I could go on and on. But with the enclosures, on the other hand, again, cosmetics important. They look amazing. We don't want your traditional black carpet cube enclosures. We wanted something different, and I definitely think we achieved that. With the Space Series, they are a flat back, slanted front. That way they fit under back seats laying down or behind back seats of trucks, etc. The Spike Series vented enclosures have a slanted back, so they're going to fit up against the back seat of an SUV or a sedan. And these have, slot vent on the Spike Series. They have got vinyl coating on the sides and front panels of both series of enclosures, as well as Stinger Roadkill spray on the tops, backs, and bottoms. They're beautifully made enclosures. There's not a sharp edge on them. Everything's rounded. They've got a unique terminal system. We have built-in mounting system on these with included brackets and stainless steel hardware. The woofers are flush mounted. They have the grills pre-installed. I mean, we've done everything on these enclosures we could think of to make them the best that they could be, including internal bracing, internal polyfill stuffing. I mean, the list goes on and on. If you haven't checked these out yet, be sure you do.
As you're saying these features, Matt, I'm literally going down the list, checking everything that anybody could possibly want from a prefabricated enclosure. I like the angle on them. They fit behind seats. Everything has been really well thought out. The one thing I do want to get a little bit more insight on is options. What are the options when it comes to both the Spike and Space enclosure so that everybody knows?
Yeah, Ben, I'm glad you brought it up. Thanks for asking. So let's start with the Space Series. Those are the slimline woofers. These come in a 10 or a 12-inch variation. That's the SPC-W10 or SPC-W12. Both of those enclosures handle 600 watts RMS maximum power. It's an RMS rating, but that's our max RMS. They're both wired for single 2-ohm impedance. And again, they come with the mounting hardware. They come with a little wiring harness. Everything's included. When we look at the Spike Series, they come in an 8, 10, or 12-inch size. And again, those are the vented ones. There's a little bit bigger enclosure for more output. Those ones, again, come with the mounting hardware, come with the wiring harness. And then those are also all single 2-ohm wired enclosures. So we're going to get the most power out of most amplifiers, including our own, of course. And they made up really well with our ACM, LC, and D series amplifiers. It's a match made in heaven.
So if you're tuning in, we're talking about some of the newer products from Audiocontrol. We've covered the PNW series of drivers, coaxials, and components. Of course, we're talking about both the Space and the Spike subwoofers, not only as the raw driver, but also as enclosures. Now, unfortunately, we don't have the time to get into all the great amplifier solutions, as well as DSP and DSP integrated amplifiers, as well as, of course, the legendary line of signal processors, such as the Epicenter or any of the active LOCs. What I want to leave with is, Matt, this looks like it's a huge step up for Audiocontrol. So now that you've had these products for a while and that they're getting out into the field and dealers are getting their hands on them and selling them through and installing them, what final message do you have for anybody tuning in about the new Audiocontrol offering?
Yeah, Ben, I'm glad you bring it up because, to be honest, although this is a huge step up for Audiocontrol, I mean, we went from, as you mentioned, being a processing company that did equalizers and crossovers and things like that, line output converters, of course, the legendary Epicenter, to, in the last couple of years, we have really grown and expanded to be more of a full line offering. But really, this is just the beginning. We have so many more things in the works I can't wait to be able to talk about. Vehicle-specific applications, unique subwoofer enclosures, more options, more amplifiers, all sorts of things are coming down the pipeline. So if you're not already an Audiocontrol dealer, you definitely should be. But stay tuned to see what's coming next, because I think everyone's going to be blown away by what comes out of this company in the next year or so.
That was Audiocontrol's Matt Palumbo coming in to join us today and giving us the breakdown on all the great new products that are now making Audiocontrol a full line offering. If you're interested to find more details about any of the products covered on today's show, I do encourage you to head on over to the official website. We'll put it on the screen at audiocontrol.com. And if you happen to be a dealer in Canada, make sure you reach out to their distribution partner in Gemsen. My takeaway, this is an exciting time, no doubt, for audio control. For those of you who have been audio control fans for quite some years, rest assured that the identity, the DNA of this brand continues. The legacy continues through the introduction of these new products. But you can see in the design, the details, that they have really considered all the factors that not only make it an attractive product for a consumer, but also always keeping in mind the process from an installer point of view. I think Matt nailed it when he said they're trying to put their best foot forward by incorporating, again, that audio control DNA in everything they do. And really, this is going to be a serious competitor in the field of full line offerings. They look a little bit different, they do things a little bit differently, but rest assured, it remains 100% audio control. That's it for the CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.